Title card, Inspirations and Experts with Sofia Sanchez. Sofia gets the lowdown on job interviews from executive coach Ronda Colavito.
Hi, my name's Sofia. What's your name?
My name's Ronda.
Well, nice to meet you, Ronda.
It's nice to meet you too, Sofia.
What do you do?
So I have a background in human resources, which means that I worked in companies where I helped hire people. I helped them do well in their jobs, and then sometimes when they didn't do well in their jobs, to leave their jobs. And so now I work directly with people who are looking for jobs. I help them find jobs, and then I help them do well in the jobs that they get.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how do they find a job?
How do you find a job? Well, it's important to know what kind of a job you would want, right? So you figure that out by figuring out the things that you like to do and matching that with what someone who's hiring would like to have you do. So it's important to figure out what you like to do, I think, first.
How do you apply for a job?
So you have to find a job that you're interested in, and typically what they would ask you to do is either to fill out a job application or submit a resume. And sometimes you do that online and sometimes you do it in person. So it's important to present yourself well because other people are applying for those jobs too, and you want them to pick you to interview.
How do you dress for an interview?
You know, what you can do is figure out what people who work in those kind of jobs typically wear to work every day. Sometimes you can visit the workplace to see how people dress, or you can ask people who either work at that place or who work in a place that's similar. So wearing something that's similar to what people wear at that place, I think, is a good place to start. And then you want to make yourselves look a little bit nicer than what people typically wear. So what you wear to a job interview is similar to what people wear who are already working there. So you can either visit the workplace to see what people typically wear. You can ask someone who either works there what they typically wear, or you can ask someone who works at a similar place what they would wear. Now, what I'll add to that is you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself the best you can. First impressions are really important. So while you're going to wear something that's typical of what everybody else is wearing, you want it to be a little bit nicer. You want to make sure that your grooming is really high quality. So your clothes are neat and clean and not wrinkled. That if you typically wear makeup, that it's tasteful and appropriate for the place that you're interviewing for. So you want to make sure that your grooming is on point. And by that I mean that you're wearing clothes that are appropriate for the place that you want to work at, that your clothes are clean, that they're wrinkle-free, and that you're making a really good first impression.
What kind of questions do they ask?
Yeah, so they're going to ask you questions to understand if you have the skills, maybe the experience, or the motivation to be a good employee there. Typically, they're going to ask you some questions that you can prepare for in advance. So they might ask you to tell them a little bit about yourself. They might ask you to tell them what you know about the business or about what they do. They may ask you about past experiences, either doing something similar to what you would be doing in that job or what you've already done at a previous job.
How do I say it in the interview?
Well, what I would recommend is that you prepare in advance and you practice, practice, practice. So you'll have an idea of the skills that they want for you to do in the job. And I would recommend that you think back to what you've done in a previous job, or if you've never had a job before, maybe what you've done at school or you've done maybe in some volunteer work that's similar to what you would be doing in the job, right? So then you would find someone that you trust, either a friend or a parent, and have them ask you questions about your experience so that you have an opportunity to practice. If you practice, you'll feel more confident, and if you're confident, you'll perform well in the interview.
How do I follow up after the interview?
Yeah, well, it can be as simple as an email. And you just thank the person for the time that they took to interview you. And you tell them that you're interested in the job. And then you would share anything that you think might make you successful at the job. I'd also recommend that if you don't hear from them in a reasonable amount of time, that you send a second email and just ask them where they are in the process for hiring someone. Let them know that you're still interested in the job, and then also, again, just reiterate why you think you'd be good for their company.
Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think it's really important to prepare your own questions for the interview, and there's a couple of things that I'd recommend you ask about. The first one is to ask about what you would be doing day to day in the job, so that you have a good understanding of what it would be like to work there. That would make it possible for you to make a good decision for yourself, right? So you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And then the second thing is, when you ask good questions in an interview, it makes you look like someone who's really serious about the job, and also it shows that you really care about being a good employee.
How do I practice to get better?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to find another person that you trust, who's going to give you good feedback. And you sit down and they'll ask you questions that are related to the job, and you'll practice your answers. And they'll give you some feedback, and you just keep practicing until you feel comfortable and confident in what you're saying.
Is it okay to read notes?
I think it's great to bring notes. I think that's a wonderful idea, Sophia. It will help you feel more comfortable and more confident, and it'll also show to the person who's interviewing you that you took time to prepare.
I have to tell you that I got a job too.
Oh, wonderful. I'd love to hear about it.
So I got a job at the CVS pharmacy in Lincoln, and I worked for 2 hours.
Fantastic. What do you like most about your job?
I like how people who are nice and treat me nicely.
Yeah.
And I like greeting everyone when they come. And I like be on time, so I don't have to be late.
Yeah.
So I can get myself busy and go into work.
Nice. I like working with nice people too.
Same.
Is there something about your job that you don't like?
There's something I do not like, but I like everything.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Good.
What if someone needs a job coach?
There are a lot of resources out there to help you prepare a resume, prepare to apply for jobs, to prepare for interviewing. There are resources available through city and state government resources, nonprofit resources, and then there are people like me out there who love to help people find jobs they love.
How do you time management if you are doing an interview with someone?
Oh, that's such a good question, Sophia. I think if you practice your answers, you will manage your time better because you'll be well prepared. You'll know what you want to say, and you won't be trying to think while you're trying to talk. So I think practicing will help you manage your time during an interview really well.
How do I get skills for my resume?
I think that starts with a goal first. And I know that you have a goal of wanting to work at Trader Joe's, right?
That's totally true.
Yeah. So I would start by talking to people who work at Trader Joe's and asking them what they do day to day, and asking them for advice on how you could build those skills and make yourself a great candidate to work at Trader Joe's. What I find, Sophia, is that people love to talk about what they do for a living. And when people ask them to give them advice, most people are really excited to help you figure out how to build the skills to get the job that you want.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, Sophia, is to look for job postings, and you can find those on the internet, for jobs that are similar to Trader Joe's, and to see what skills they say they want, right? So it could be dealing with customers, it could be stocking shelves, and look for opportunities in the job that you already have to learn those skills. And so once you do those skills in the job that you already have, that's going to position you really well to apply for a job at Trader Joe's and to be able to tell them all the experiences that you have that they need.
I love that answer you just said. How do I tell a job about my disability?
So typically, Sophia, when you have a disability, you work with your employer to figure out what you need to be successful on the job. So that would be a conversation that you would have as you're accepting a job offer. And I think it's important to just be clear and direct about what you need to be successful. Sophia, I think it's important to be really clear and really direct about what you need. And so you need to understand that before you start to have the conversation with your employer. So that's probably something that you would want a little bit of coaching on, either with a family member or even a doctor, if that's appropriate, to determine what you want to ask for as far as an accommodation. So some things that you might ask for are limitations on things you can do physically. It might be managing your stress level in the job. It might be managing the level of stimulation that you have. So yeah, it's just really understanding what your needs are and asking very clearly for what you want and what you need to be successful. So Sophia, I know you have some experience with this. What's an example of something that you asked your employer for to help you be successful working with your disability?
So they said that I can't do the explorations because they are doing that. So they are finding me a different job so I can fix products and face forward so every customer can see it and they want that. They can help me do something and I just go for it. And I think I want to take that responsibility for my disability. It's my strength that I want to be a great example to everyone and also to my employer.
I love that you want to do a good job and that you want to be a good example too.
Is there anything else to add?
Yeah. I know it can be a little bit scary if you've never had a job before or if it's your first job. But one of the things that I think is most important is showing motivation and enthusiasm for the job and showing them that you really want to do a good job. I think attitude and motivation counts for so much more than your experience sometimes, and also your willingness to learn.
I want to know, what is motivation mean?
Yeah, motivation is it's a desire to do well. I think at its most simplest level, and that's something that comes from inside you. So you mentioned before that you want to be a good example and that you want to do a good job. And that's a perfect demonstration of what motivation is for you.
I just really enjoy getting a job, but like you said, that is a good example. By being a good example to my employees, so I can understand what they are saying to me, so I get their motivation from them, what they're asking me to do. And I think it's a perfect example.
Yeah, I agree.
How do I find information about different jobs?
Good question. Well, there are a bunch of different ways that you can find out about different jobs. Number one is you can talk to people and ask them what they do, and find out what they're passionate about, because you might discover something that interests you by talking to someone else. You can also go on the internet and look around at different job sites like LinkedIn and Indeed and some other sites, and just get curious and start exploring different job descriptions to see what people do in different jobs. And as you're doing that, just make a mental note about the things that look interesting, the things that look exciting to you, and the things that you're curious about. And start to create a list of the types of skills and jobs that you'd like to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is your job?
So I'm a leadership and career coach. And so what that means is that I work with people like you to figure out what you love to do, how to find a job doing that, and then how to be successful in that job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. This was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun.
Good.
Would you like another handshake again?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Of course.
Sophia talks with Inspiration Steven about how he handles job interviews.
Hi, I'm Sophia. What's your name?
Hi, Sofia. My name is Steven. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And what's it like to have a job?
Well, it's wonderful. It helps me to pay my bills and get my way and have fun, do things that I like to do. But there's some things about it that I feel like you have to wake up early in the morning, get yourself ready, get yourself going, make sure you're there on time, and just make sure you're clocking on time, and be ready for the day. Especially when I work in retail, you just want to make the great customers, make sure they find everything okay, and as a cashier, making sure they have, they pay and make sure they find everything okay. And also it brings into having independence.
Nice. And do you like your job?
I do like working. I do like my job. It's nice to see new people coming into where I work every day, and also help them figure out their projects, figure out what they need to purchase, where things are, help solve problems, and then also able to put a smile on someone's face at the end of the day.
That's nice. And what is your favorite thing about having a job?
Besides the pay, I think able to live on, help me live independently.
Nice. And where do you work?
I work for a company called the Home Depot. Actually, I got two jobs. I work for the Home Depot as a cashier, So it's a home improvement store. So my job as a cashier is to, like I said before, help customers find product, help them make sure they have everything they need for their project. Also, that's including professionals if they need to have any questions about where things are, contractors where things are, and also I work for a local ski area in the rental shop in the Tahoe area. And I pass out skis, make sure the guests there are happy, friendly. I pass out snowboards, make sure they have the right equipment. If they're beginner skier, if they're beginning snowboarding, or intermediate snowboarder skier, expert skier, expert snowboarder, make sure they have the right equipment.
So tell me about your interview.
Well, the interview process was interesting. You wanted to look your best, make a good first impression. And then you want to get to your interview a little bit early so you can be ready to go. And also have a few questions for the interviewer. And then make sure you know the company before you go into interview. Get the background, get the history of what you're applying for. Understand the job that you're applying for. Make sure you read it and make sure you understand it. And then when you sign for the interview, get it a few minutes early, so that way it makes a very good first impression. And then they will ask you questions that either it'll be a manager and their supervisor will ask you questions. They will ask you what you know about the company, what you feel like about the company, what you know about the job, how many jobs you had in the past, and then they will ask you, get a chance to ask questions. So sometimes one of the questions I probably ask my interviewer is, how much this job is pay? Because you want to make sure you're getting paid nice amount of pay. Maybe if I can get accommodations, what kind of accommodations that you might need for the job. And then at the end, you always want to thank that person for letting an interview with them. And then after you've done the interview, you want to leave with your head high, and then we just wait until they get back to you. And also, it's okay to check in and say, hey, what are my chances of getting the job? What's my, you want to show interest. The more interest you show, the better chances you'll get a job wherever you're applying for.
Nice.
And that's for any place that you're applying for.
I love that.
Logos for Northern Nevada Center for Independent Living and Southern Nevada Center for Independent Living.